Don't blink, it's you blink. Welcome to the show. This is you guys doing well on this 19th February 2025. This is my first video in I'm not even joking, 3 days. And yes, we did some video here and there, but this is very much the first video that I wanted to do. There's no daily planning today because again the day already started. The day was very busy today. I went out on a walk, but it was more so about how can I say that? How can I say that? I had a couple of drinks. My apologies. Which is actually why we're doing this video. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does for me. So this doesn't have anything to do with the video in itself, but this is why we're making this video actually. So yesterday we finished watching One Piece, right? And today was just about okay, well, yeah, I had all of this information, but you were busy watching the show versus take notes, right? Because okay, it's a long story, but basically speaking, no, we'll get into it. And the subject of the video is why do I work so much, right? So lately you've been hearing me talk about a lot about addiction to working, addiction to corn, addiction to food. Are you seeing this? We're having a tournament, so I have to actually check out this, making sure that this is okay. No, thankfully we're seeing it on the screen. So, yeah, we're filming, but this is also a little bit of a how does the French say it? The French probably possibly say something along the line of a miroir. I'm talking about a lot about addiction, right? And then I took a couple of days out off. I took a week off last week, right? And I had a lot of time to think, right? When my addiction once again is working hard, I had a lot of time to think, why am I working so hard? And the answer was a couple of things. The idea for this video came also from yesterday. But yesterday we were reviewing a Orange Crush, which is kind of like a soft drink but with orange, right? So along the line of Pepsi, along the line of 7-Up, along the line of a lot of these products. And I was like, why is that so important to me? So the Orange Crush, and again, this is a side tangent. This is really a side tangent, but we're going somewhere, I promise you. As a kid, it was my favorite drink, and I was like, okay, well, why was it your favorite drink? And I couldn't pinpoint the reason why. And I was making the video, I remember some good memories that pushed me to drink more Crush when we're going to the parties, right? And then as I continue with the video, another memory came back to me about why I was preferring to drink Crush. And now I had these two conflicting thoughts. And I was like, okay, well, it can be the both of them, right? But why did I only remember, or why did I have to talk about something to remember something else, right? And it felt kind of weird because in a perfect world, they're like, okay, well, these memories are accessible to me, but they weren't accessible, right? So when I talk about how hard I work, which is again one of the stories that I've been really, really focusing on lately, my addiction to work, my workaholism, and I've been, as I told you, I went to reunion. We stopped making content for a week, but we didn't stop going to the reunion. Trust me. And it's it's a bunch of stuff, and I was thinking about it. I was like, what if just like the Orange Crush, what if my version for it was completely messed up, was completely different? What if what I told you was only perceive ideas, perceive context, perceive concept? I think that I'm a workaholic because X, Y, and Z, right? But maybe X, Y, and Z are excuses that I give myself. Maybe they're the tip of the iceberg, right? But it's still an iceberg. So today I wanted to make a video, and it's funny because when you look at it, technically speaking, today, by the way, we're the 19th of February. I've seen the date, and I think I forgot the date. But if you look at last week, I was talking about that a lot. I was thinking about how it affects me. I was talking about the fact that I have an addiction, but I never really wondered why I have this addiction. It's like, and I guess it makes sense because to the reunion I go to the AAs for addiction. And you know that's what it is. That that's why you know. Okay, well, I have a problem with drinking Alcohol, the reason as to why is because I drink alcohol because it makes me feel something, it makes me escape something. Oh, I like the feeling of it, I like the aspect it gives me, I like the person I am when I drink, I like the sensation that I have when I'm drunk. Life is hard, so I need to drink. There's a lot of reason, right? But I never give myself, and of course I'm giving you guys the reason as to why. I've thought of it as a journal entry, sort of as a shrink session, a session at, with a shrink, and he asks you, okay, well, why do you think that you have these problems? Like, well, doctor, and I never took the time to do that. And of course, it's a beautiful video to make, and I'm so glad that this is the first one we're doing. I'm so glad that this is the first one we're doing because again, it matters, but matters so much to me, to a degree where it's almost nonsensical at what point this matters to me. Because if you can find a reason as to why you're doing thing, I don't know, was that an excuse that can be able to use? For example, when I learned I had ADHD, I right away started using ADHD as an excuse. And to this day, I still do it. Right? Or is it something that's therapeutic? And like when I make those videos, right, I'm talking to myself and I talk about how therapeutic it is. But am I really pushing forward the idea that, okay, well, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, or am I just saying, I don't mind fixing that? It's not a big deal. My addiction to workaholic, is one of the biggest problems in my life right now, right? So, for example, I am, again, we're putting cards on the table, right? We're going with the truth, we're going with honesty, we're going deeper than you want me to go, but that's fine, because this is a journey, this is a session with the shrink. And at the shrink, you don't keep secret. I've been working. I was looking for work. I've ended up going back to the agency, and I'm on call. Most of the time, I'm going to be on call for snow. I'm going to be on call for X, Y, Z. Mostly like 1 day, 2 days job. Because it's the winter, and they have a harder time to give you a job, right? A lot of the construction companies are going to be closed for winter. And yeah, so what people do is in the construction industry, what they do is they work crazy hours during the summer, and then they get unemployment for the winter, so they're good, right? So in my case, what ends up happening is I have this job, and I have to ask myself, did I really push forward the effect of I'm looking for a job? I did give out CVs, but even then, when you say I give out CVs, in this again, we're saying going side tangent, but trust me, we're going some places. When you give out CVs, would you really trying to get a job? It's one thing like, hey, I have bills to pay, I'm gonna try to find a job, and then you hopefully, really hopeful, you go to the places that you're showing interest to. Well, I wouldn't mind working here, right? I have a friend, she's working in a art gallery, and this wasn't the first place that she applied. This wasn't the first time that she applied, but she finally got the job, and she pushed it and she pushed it and she pushed it. Luckily for her, she was able to keep other job in the background and just being waiting for the timing, right? And I don't have that mentality. I'm not a guy that can wait. So what I'll do is I'll wait until the last minute, and I'm like, yo, I need a job. I remember with the job that I had, last job that I had, it was the 26th of July. I remember that. And again, I told you guys this story multiple times, and I'm going to tell you again because I think it's important. Because again, this is a workaholic, right? It was July. It was July. It was the 20 something, 20, I don't remember. I think it was the 24, 25, 26, but I know it was the last week before the rent. And I had a janitor that was keeping the money. And I was super lucky because I was living here well, this was in 2018. I moved here in 2012. This is my apartment, by the way. So that's 6 years, and they trusted me. And I was lucky for that because, well, technically speaking, 6 years is 12. That's 72 months of paid rent. I never missed a month. And I remember not having a job, and I remember going to the store because I was just chilling. I was just downloading videos, and I was like, oh, I still get unemployment. I'm gonna be okay, right? And I remember those days I would stay in the agency. Not the agency, sorry. I would stay in the store for the whole day because I had Wi-Fi. So I would bring my battery pack. I would bring a battery pack. I would bring the phone, and I would download videos. Right, and I would say from 10 when they open to around 7 when they close, I think. And I would just stay there. And I remember going to the store to get some food. It was a bag of chip, right? Some Oreos, in a 2 liters of soft drink. pay possibly $20 something, right? And I go to sit down, and I go to pay, and I pass a card, and it doesn't work. So I said, "Oh, sorry, I must have problem with the chip because I had problem with the chips." This took the card, clean it, right, and I did it again, and then she said, "No, sir," and she showed me the which we call it, like the little thing that says what's the problem, and it was written insufficient funds. So then I go right away, and it's the 26 July. And I go in, and I go to I go to fill up the unemployment so I can get 2 weeks of unemployment, just to realize I'm out. The last 2 weeks were what I had. I was like, okay, I'm not getting a check. I'm not getting this, right? So what I did, I called my boy at agency. I was like, yo, I really need a job. He's like, oh, I don't work here anymore. And again, it was 2 years before I didn't call him, right? And that guy was super nice, Michael Tessy. Un gros shout out à Michael Tessy. Un amour, ce gars-là. This guy was a fucking homie of mine. He was a really nice guy. He was living in Lachine too, and he would get lifts from drivers because he was a agency worker. And he would make sure that I had a lift, even though I wasn't working with him that day. He's like, at what time you're working? 7 o'clock. Okay. Oh, I'm leaving at 5:30. You want to come to the office? Just wait for 45 minutes. It's gonna take you more time than the bus, because if we take the bus, that's an hour 15, an hour 30. So I'd rather wait 45 minutes in a freaking lift, not pay money, because it was free, right? So I called Michael, and Michael, the last time I called him, it was when I quit the last job that I had, and it was like I remember I think it was January, February, and I remember that it was a year before that, and it was July. So yeah, that was a long time ago. And he left the job and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do." And then next day he got me the job, and that was the job that I had for 7 years, right? And but I waited till the last second, right, for cash. And so the problem with me is, I think I don't mind having a job. I'm gonna work hard. If there's overtime, I'll be the first to put my name for overtime. I always say yes to overtime. But it's like, when I don't work, I don't work, And it's also a question of mentality. I feel like a lot of the job that I had, when I left them, or when I got fired, surprisingly enough, I got fired 3 times out of the 10 plus job that I had. Most of them I quit. The problem with that is, when you quit a job, the first, and again, we're trying to see past the tip of the iceberg. We're trying to see deep down the iceberg, right? We're trying to understand, how does the brain of ink work, right? Taking away ADHD, taking away every single thing that makes me, just as a human being, just as what I know about myself, right? Repressed memory or not repressed memories. A shrink therapy session. So I go in, I'll leave a job, right? And I'll have this mentality of, oh, right, I'm on vacation, right? Now, I know most of you are human. When I say most of you, I hope that it's all of you, and there's not a fucking bot watching. But we all have that feeling on Friday, right? Where everybody's in a good mood, and we're leaving for the weekend. And on Friday, we don't care about what's going on, right? We're going party, we're having fun, right? And then comes Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, actually, and you're thinking, like, oh, tomorrow, right? And you hate it. So when you have this unemployment, you have this, like, vacation, I will say, and the vacation don't want it to end, right? So you keep on pushing it, and you keep on pushing it, and you keep on pushing it, right? And you're like, okay, well, guess what? This is actually pretty good, right? But then at the same time, you realize that you applied to a lot of jobs, right? And because you applied to a lot of the jobs, per example, right? And you don't even notice it. For example, right? The strength in which you shake a hand. Now, this is kind of crazy. This is really crazy. So, I think it's more like, I think it's, I don't know. I think it's for a professional type of things, but you'll put a handshake. And at first, if you go too soft, you'll look weak, right? Which is not good. You don't want to look weak. But if you go too strong, you look too intense, and that can intimidate people. So there's almost a non-written agreement when it comes to the amount of strength put into a handshake, right? Now, when you meet a stranger, right, it's very, very, very different. I mean, a stranger, right? I remember my first time with stranger. You see, with stranger, it's a weird thing, right? Um, it's a really weird thing. I, as a kid, didn't need anybody. I was focused on my video games, my shows. Didn't care about anybody. I didn't even spend time with my parents, right? And it's nuts. It is nuts. It is really nuts. So I remember my first experience with stranger was in a tattoo shop, right? And people, complete strangers, start talking to me, right? And I didn't know why. Maybe I looked like a regular because I had a lot of tattoos. I have a lot of tattoos. So, and they start talking to me, and it was kind of like this almost uncomfortable space because, like, I don't know you, dude. Like, for example, right now, right, I'm getting a lot of people on TikTok who are DMing me, and you see, if it was last year, I would answer, right? Because again, I'm trying to make this work. If anything else, I'm trying to make this work. The fucking pen to okay, we'll take a knife. This is not a knife. Do not strike this. So, right. If it was last year, I would answer those people. But now this year, I'm trying to be nicer, right? I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna answer you. I'm not this bullshit. Like, for example, yesterday, right? And I really tried. And again, it's gonna sound, you're gonna hear the story and you're gonna say, oh, Ink, you didn't really try. But this is such a fucking fucked up moment. So, na zdrowia, coffee. The tipsy myself. So good. This person, I don't know them, and they send me a message. I don't know what it is, and it's like share a live video. Usually when people like it, people will share a live video. It's themselves. So I go in and I open somebody else. Okay, I go in. I receive another DM 30 minutes ago. It's another live video from a different person. I don't answer because I know it is, and I don't know that person. Again, do I think that because I don't know you, your stream or your life cannot be interesting? I'm not saying that at all. I think it can be pretty interesting. However, I'm just saying that I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, I feel like if I feel kind of guilty. There's a lot of my friends are streamers or content creators, and I'm like, what am I doing in a stream of somebody that I don't know when I could be helping a friend, right? Like, for example, Sir. Yesterday I was in for he was streaming for like 12 hours. Sir wins a lot 03 on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on TikTok. One of my boy. I fucking love that guy. And no, I just came in and say hi, and I think I stayed like, I think it was like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Because yesterday was a really big day. We're gonna talk about that. Don't worry. We're gonna talk about that. Do not worry. This is gonna be a long video, by the way, if you didn't notice. So yeah, and I was like, this is a cool stream. But then the problem with Sir, and again, it's not his fault, but the problem with Sir is he's playing this game called Rocket League, and the community, the people that were in his chat were kind of toxic, and they were kind of toxic to him. Like, for example, oh, you could have saved this. Oh, you could have blocked this shot. Oh, you didn't do a good job. And at first, I feel bad for the guy. Of course, I feel bad for the guy. It's my boy. I love him. But then I'm like, dude, you. And again, I'm not judging. I'm not judging at all. But I'm like, dude, you know that this community is toxic. So you kind of put yourself through it. It's like again. I hope I'm not offending anybody because it's gonna be a touchy subject. It's like this girl, right? And I don't know this girl. I'm gonna call her Jane Doe. Okay, and Jane Doe, she has a boyfriend, right? And Jane Doe, because she has a boyfriend, that boyfriend hates her, right? So when we see Jane Doe and we see her bruised up, I'm like, Jane, what are you doing with that guy, right? And at first, you feel bad for Jane, right? Because she's getting beat up. But then you realize that Jane had multiple occasions to leave this behind, to leave the dude in question. We'll call him Jim Doe because they're married, you know? Jim and Jane Doe are married, right? And then you realize that Jane, even though that she had multiple chances to leave, she didn't leave him. So then you start feeling less bad for Jane. You still understand that it's a fucked up situation. But at the same time, you feel like Jane, you could have done something, right? Could have done something before. I had this girl, right? Completely opposite. So with Sir, I feel like that's it, and I just left because it was toxic. It was the chat was toxic. I'm like, dude, it's not a good environment, you know. And I love the guy, I want to support the guy, but if I cannot look at the chat, you know. So this girl, right, and you guys know her. I talked about her a lot. This relation that we had. So I made a long video about how it didn't end up together, and I think it did. I think it was the answer to Summer, the video, which is a 50 minutes answer to a girl called Summer. The girl called Summer, she wrote me 3 comments that were fucking paragraph. Like, you think I write a lot? You think like we're talking about more writing than this, right? Yeah, more writing than this, a shit ton. And you see, with that, and I was like, oh, two broken people cannot fix each other, right? And the girl, we kind of had a thing, and then when she ended things, and this is the first time I do that, and I was so proud of myself. When I ended things, she asked me, I want to be friends. And I'm like, I don't want friends. I'm good, right? And I told her that, and again, maybe it made me look like an asshole, but I'll tell you a secret. I'd rather be the asshole that looks like an asshole than the asshole who pretend like he's not, right? Me not being friend with her or not wanting to be friend with her, if that make me an asshole, I'm an asshole. That's life. So a week after that, she blocked me right away. She blocked me, and I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. After a week after that, she unblocked me. And I'm like, and she started conversation. She's like, hey, how are you? And we start talking, right? And I'm like, she's like, oh, I miss you. It was actually really sweet. And then we start talking, and it's going well. And then there's a day, and again, I told this story before, right? But this is going to be important to the general concept of this video. It's going to be very important to this general concept of this video. Very important in the genesis. And again, it's thing that happened not too long ago, so they weren't part of the genesis of Ink, but they're part of the genesis of how my mind is right now. They're part of the current state of thoughts, the current state of mind, you know? And that's important because who cared? We care about your past, right? Care about your past, but you don't remember how you felt. You don't remember what you were thinking. And I remember falling down that hole. I don't remember what I was thinking, right? So she started talking to me, right? And then there's a couple of days in, we're talking. I think it's the second day we're talking. And she's like, hey, I'm in a bad mood. I just need space. I'm like, okay, no problem. I understand that, right? And then, so the next day I make sure that she's okay, and she seems okay. We have a talk. She say, hey, thank you. Then for 4 days she doesn't text, which usually she'll text me. See, it's complicated. I don't. I'm not going I'm not usually the guy that's gonna write down first, even to friends, not even a love interest, but to friends. I'm not a guy that's gonna write to people first, because I have a very movable schedule. Like, I'll need to make videos, but if I do them 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after, there's no problem. It's still the same video, right? So, and I find people with a 9 to 5 and say, oh, you have a schedule? Okay, I'll respect your schedule, no problem. I don't have a schedule. You have a schedule, we'll take your schedule, right? I think it's pretty normal to do. So then, for 4 days, she doesn't talk to me, right? I'm like, okay. And, that's gonna make me an asshole, but when it was a girl that I really like, it went fast, it went like a fucking tornado, but it was really cool when it lasted, you know, and I really liked that girl. You saw me crying because of that situation, you know. You saw me having doubts, and every single day we were fights, but she would make the effort, and it wasn't a fight of, oh, fuck you, with a fight that I don't like, that make me feel like that. So I'm like, fuck, I didn't want to make you feel like that, you know. But then, weirdly speaking, when it was over, I felt relieved, right? And that's not normal if you're in a relationship or you have a love. I hope I'm fucking recording. I am. Cool. Right? So you go in and you're like, okay, well, if it wasn't, that's not normal, that I feel like that, maybe it wasn't meant to be, right? And when she asked me, hey, want to be friend? I'm like, no, because I wanted to cut the bridges. And then when she started talking, I didn't, I'm sorry. I didn't need to talk to her. I didn't feel that, I didn't feel the need to talk to her, right? Even my father is gonna text me. He just texted me. He texted me at 6:17. It is 7:24, and I love my father. It's one of my favorite people in the world. But he texted me, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, Dad, we talked yesterday, right? Except if I'm in fucking accident, I'm good. I was good yesterday, I'm pretty good today. And I love him, but I'm not gonna talk to him every day, right? This is gonna be, this seemed like something that's off track, but you need to understand the genesis of what is the concept of this video, why I work so much. This is crazy, right? This is insane. So then we start talking, and the day when she texted me back, she was like, "Yo, I need you now." And she texted me, "I need you now." And I was at a reunion, so I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" She's like, "Can I call you?" I'm like, "No, I'm at a reunion." She said, "Okay, well, can you call me after?" I said, "Okay, no problem." Then the rest of the reunion, I was worried. So as I got out of the reunion, I text her and she calls me. And I don't know why. The microphone of this one didn't work, right? Or it's not a microphone. What is this called? The audio. It doesn't work, right? See here. You hear it? Now we fix it. You can see that we fix it here. So it really helps, right? But I didn't hear her. And then I was like, dude, I'm wait until I'm home. I have three things. I have this one I can use Instagram. I have this one I can use Instagram. I have this one I can use Instagram. This one I can't talk, but the two others I could. I have a computer I can use Instagram. I'm good, right? And then she told me like, oh, I feel like you do it on purpose. I'm like, dude, I was always there for you. What are you saying? Right? I had a friend. This is this summer. And we cut ties. We were friends for 3 years, and she started getting a lot of hate, and I was getting a lot of hate too. And she said, "Oh, it's weird that we have hate at the same time." And I'm like, "What you mean? Say, are you behind the comments that we're getting?" And I was like, "Dude, are you kidding me?" And this girl, the number of shots I gave her, the number of time I told her, "Hey, you should be streaming," and right now she's streaming right now, so and it was a fucked up situation. But to come back to her, and then she started giving me shit. And she said, I can tell that she was in a bad mood, right? And I was like, hey, we're gonna end this conversation here. Text me tomorrow. And she's like, why? I said, I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. And she's like, yeah, but we're already fighting. I said, okay, then continue talking. Then continue fighting. I'm not here. And then she stopped. And after that, I said, like, dude, I'm not comfortable in this. And I texted her, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And then she blocked me. Right? And then she blocked me. There's a couple of things that was said after that, but I'm not going to say it because it's personal, first of all. And second of all, if a person knows who she is, I don't want them to be mad at her, right? We say hurtful stuff when we're heartbroken, or we're in pain, whatever. So it was this case, right? And this was, and the first thing that I thought, I was like, well, this is not good. And I was ashamed because when I thought it was not good is because this is so complicated. This is it's when madmen become insane. She represented three things, right? She was a relationship interest, right? Which is social, which is replacing porn. Because again, you watch porn for what? To have a release. Romance interest equal release, right? She was a comfort zone, right? Because with a comfort zone, she replaced what? She replaced food. You're right. She wanted attention. She wanted my time, which is completely normal. And she demanded it. Which replaced what? My free schedule to make content. I have a free schedule, but I have to talk to her. So 3 problems solved. And the first thing that when we stop talking, after the bathroom, I'll be right back. This is pressing matters.